Hi everybody, I'm Simon Carpenter. I've been with SAP for some 27 odd years, and today what I'd like to talk about is RISE with SAP. Many of you will have heard that we announced RISE earlier this year in 2021, January, but some of you may not know what it's really all about. So that's what I'm going to try and endeavor to do in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. I want to start with helping you understand why we have done this. If you look at any organization today, business transformation and digital transformation, which often go hand in hand, are on the agenda of every executive. And the reality is that we need to move really, really quickly, whatever kind of organization we're in. Speed is essential. It actually always has been, but the pandemic has accelerated things dramatically. In a McKinsey global survey done in July last year, talking to organizations, they found that many companies had accelerated their internal operations digitally by 3 to 4 years, and that the share of digital enablement in their IT portfolios had accelerated by up to 7 years. In a more recent study done by Accenture, 90% of business and IT executives agreed that in order to be agile and resilient in the face of shocks like the pandemic, they needed to fast forward their digital transformation, especially with cloud at the core of their strategy. Moving to the cloud makes huge sense because it allows you to be more agile, more flexible, has a better economic model, and it allows you to turn your attention to the task of applying technology to running your business better rather than running that technology yourself. So the first reality is customers are looking for speed. They want to get stuff done fast. The second reality is all of our customers start from a different place. Some of you are still on ECC 6. Some may be on earlier versions of SAP S/4HANA. Some of you may be new to SAP and looking to get a new platform in place as quickly as possible. And some of you may run very complex environments that you've grown over the years. You have multiple SAP instances, lots of customizations, and for you a move is very challenging. So we all start from different places, and we need a methodology to help you regardless of where you're starting from. Equally, you all want to go to different places. Some organizations will be happy in the short term simply to optimize what they're doing now, get better productivity out of it, squeeze the costs out because you're not ready to make the next big transformation. Others will be looking to extend what you're already doing. So maybe the pandemic has forced you to look at new distribution channels and you need to open up an omni-channel commerce capability. Or maybe you had to reconfigure your supply chain because your supply chain has been disrupted by the pandemic. So you need to tread that middle ground. And some organizations may see this as an opportunity to really be disruptive, change the rules of the game in the industry and move the entire industry forward. So we need to recognize that reality as well. And then the fourth reality, and I spoke about this in a previous session, is that transformation is hard. It is multifaceted. It is not just about technology. It is about culture. It is about people. It is about regulation. It is about all the legacy that you carry with you and how you extricate yourself from that. It's about making a valid case to change, both from a strategic point of view and from a financial point of view. And it's about thinking about what can we do to accelerate value and release value in waves rather than waiting for a big bang approach somewhere down the line. So that complexity is another reality we have to deal with. And then the fifth reality, and the sad one, is that all too often transformation programs fail. In fact, Bain & Company, when they did a survey back in 2019 under the banner of Learning from Digital Leaders, found that only 12% of corporate transformations achieved their targets. Now, often that's because they didn't start in the right place and they didn't proceed in the right direction. So we believe that with what we're pulling together under the RISE banner, we can really help get that from 12% to a much higher percentage of success. So RISE with SAP is effectively our offering to help you do business transformation with a lot of services and capabilities from SAP and our partners. It basically acknowledges your unique starting place. It provides you with a guided journey to the future where you want to get to, and that future is really to become the intelligent enterprise that is super adaptive to whatever the world throws at your organization. So what's inside the box, as it were, of RISE? It is a single contract from an SAP standpoint, where we've tried to pull together everything we know you need based on hard-won experience to make a successful transformation. So we start by looking at your processes. How are they running today? How do they compare to your peers? Because when we do that kind of benchmarking, we can very quickly highlight where you may be lagging and losing a competitive advantage. And that might prioritize the direction in which you go on your transformation journey. So the benchmarking database that underpins that is enormously rich and really provides a lot of information to help you think about how to start this journey and where you want to get to. Then we also have in there the ERP backbone that you're going to need for the modern enterprise, SAP S/4HANA. That's an integral part of any major transformation. Equally, we provide industry capabilities. Today, that is 5 industries. It's automotive, it's consumer products, it's industrial machinery and components, retail and utilities, and more industries will follow as we release further waves of the RISE program. Very importantly, we know that great though our software is, and rich though it is in function, it's not going to do everything you might want to do. So an important part of RISE is the business technology platform. We provide you with credits to use the technology platform to extend and integrate and innovate alongside the applications that you're taking from SAP. Also, we know that most transformations will extend beyond the 4 walls of the organization. You'll be looking for new ways to touch your customers, new ways to interact with your suppliers and your various business partners like logistics providers. So we bake in rights to use the SAP Business Network for supply, for asset management, and for logistics. And then perhaps the secret sauce of all of this, and what makes SAP really different, generally speaking, is the tooling that we bring to you. I've already mentioned the benchmarking that we use right up front to try and understand how your processes are working, but we also bring to you tools to help you analyze how your current systems look, how much customization is in there. Is it actually being used? And you'd be surprised at how much customization was kind of used once and then forgotten, but it's still being maintained in your systems. We also bring together tools to help you figure out how to migrate across to the new environment. And that's a really important part of the puzzle, because you don't necessarily want to take everything across, but you do need to take what's needed for planning purposes and historical reporting and the like. And then, last but not least, all of this runs in the cloud. That's part and parcel of RISE, is to get you onto the cloud so you achieve all of the benefits that come with cloud computing. And what we do there is we work hand in glove with the hyperscalers. So it may be a hyperscaler you're already engaged with, and we figure out with them exactly what kind of infrastructure is needed for the move that you are contemplating with the RISE program. And then we wrap that into our contract. So in one contract from SAP, you're getting the process insights, you're getting the applications, you're getting the tooling, and you're getting the infrastructure, the access to the networks, and the applications for the various industries that I mentioned earlier on. So it's a very comprehensive set of capabilities. And our job really in this is to work with you and your existing SIs to put together not just a contract called RISE with SAP, but an approach that is well thought out, that is robust, that has considered the risks, that has considered the benefits, and that we can step into the future with confidence together and move you on this path towards digital transformation. It's important that I mention the partners as well, because they remain a super critical part of SAP's business ecosystem. And whilst we will be taking on much of the burden of the technical capabilities that underpin the solutions, partners will still be really, really valuable to you in terms of setting strategy, managing change, and providing you with those kind of advisory and implementation services as you go through the change. And then as you come out of the change and you continue with your ongoing operations, they will also provide application management services to make sure things keep humming in the way that they need to for you to be successful. So at the end of the day, just to kind of wrap it all up in terms of what's inside RISE, there's the advisory services which come from SAP and our partners. There is one hand to shake when it comes to the technology and application stack. That's the SAP RISE contract with SAP. There is a very well thought out, jointly developed success plan to get you into the future, and which we measure progress against. There is a strong governance model between yourselves as customers, SAP, and our partners, with a really well articulated responsibility matrix, so everybody knows what each other is doing and responsible for. Very important part of the puzzle as you move to transform is you've got to unlearn what happened yesterday and think about what you need, new capabilities you need moving forward. So we also bundle into RISE the SAP Learning Hub, which accelerates, of course, the process of your people and indeed partners learning what they need to know about the new applications in order to get the best out of them. And then we stay with you side by side, going through this process to make sure you get the value that you signed up for in the first place. And that value, as I've said, is really well established right up front, so you know what you're in for and what you're going to get out at the other end of the journey. And when we talk about value with RISE, there's really two dimensions to it, or two places the value comes from. On the one hand, it's about building in the new differentiating business capabilities you need in order to be successful in your market. So that'll be things like more efficient business processes, new ways of reaching out to your customers, reconfigured supply chain, perhaps even changing your business model. Those are all business benefits, and to that end, it's really important as we go through the RISE program that we're working not just with the IT folks, but with the business people responsible for marketing and production and logistics and HR and the like. And then there are the IT benefits. Moving onto the cloud helps the IT department to get rid of the technical debt that many organizations suffer from today. Effectively, what we're doing with RISE is we're taking on that technical burden. We're going to make sure, you know, from the sort of floor of the data center up to where the application sits on the database, all of those issues are taken care of between ourselves and the hyperscaler. So you can reconfigure your IT shop to focus more on unlocking value from digital capabilities and less on simply keeping the lights on and running IT. And as we move into a future where digital is ever more important and ever more bound up with business success, that reconfiguration of IT is going to be hugely important. So those are the two main sources of value that we track through the business case with yourselves. And what we've seen so far in with the early adopters of the RISE program is we've seen reductions in manufacturing cycle times, sometimes as much as 15 times shorter cycle times. We've seen increases of between 10 and 20% in service revenues coming from new business models that our customers have established. We've seen reduced time to market through more efficient processes and greater integration between the design to operate phase across the supply chain. We've seen reduction in revenue losses due to stockouts through better visibility from planning and demand signals all the way back through to production and sourcing. On the bottom line, we've seen reduced inventory carrying costs, again because of better visibility, reduced manufacturing costs, reduced day sales outstanding, get a better handle through the embedded reporting inside SAP S/4HANA in particular. You get immediate actionable insights that are difficult to get with old style ERP systems. And of course, all of this also is preparing our customers for the coming burden of making sure you are behaving in a highly sustainable fashion, because your customers, your investors, and your own talent are going to be demanding that of you much more vocally if they aren't already. And then, of course, there's the strategic and transformational benefits that come from being on a much more modern platform. And a lot of those relate to improving customer satisfaction, because you're more responsive, you're more transparent to your customers, and you're improving your on-time delivery performance. So your business case will be unique to you, but within the RISE context, we have all the tools we need to help you figure out what that business case is, and then to step into it with confidence, knowing that you'll come out the other end having gone through a guided journey that takes you to success. And of course, for the IT folks, there are all the numerous cloud benefits that flow into the IT shop. Greater security, more of an ability to achieve process excellence, more frequent access to the innovations that particularly the big hyperscalers and SAP are able to invest in. So you stay ahead of the curve, and you're able to bring these new capabilities to your business. And of course, the economics of the hyperscalers also play in your favor. So it prepares IT to help their organization move forward into the future. So that's RISE in a nutshell. It's a guided journey with a set of services, a set of solutions, hyperscaler baked in, Learning Hub baked in, everything you need to move you towards the business transformation outcomes that you're looking for in your organization as you think about the kind of future you're trying to create for your organization. We will be doing more of these type of sessions, so stay tuned. More will follow. We may unpack certain aspects of RISE in more detail. And in that regard, we'd love to hear from you. What are you wrestling with? What are you battling to understand? SAP is a big organization. We operate in many different areas, and there may be things that you want to hear more about. We'd love to serve you with that information. So give us the feedback, and we'll make sure that we put these kind of sessions on for you. Thank you very much for listening to us, and I'm going to leave the final word on RISE to some of the early analyst reports that are flowing in. Josh Greenbaum, many of you will follow Josh. He's with Enterprise Application Consulting, talks about RISE being a good package because it puts it all together, and simplifying the engagement is a huge win for customers. Equally, at IDC, Mickey North Rizza talks about the fact that you get the platform that integrates everything, regardless of what other applications you have, and that comes virtue of the business technology platform, so that your whole portfolio comes together. And on top of that, you get tied into the business network, so customers really can't go wrong. So the analysts agree that this is a great approach. Our early customers are talking about the benefits they have. Isn't it time you joined the journey? Thank you very much.